everyone, Rob the Backyard Gardener here, and I wanted to give you an update on my propagated peach tree and pear tree cuttings. You'll recall that it's been I started the cuttings, I cut them off the fruit trees on January 3rd and put them in the jars full of water that acted as a mini greenhouse. So today is the 29th, so it's been 26 days that these cuttings have been placed in water, and it's been about 11 days since my last video. So I'm going to take one cutting from each of the bins, the little mini greenhouses, and see if I get them in some soil with a Ziploc bag and the 2-cup method, how they grow. Let's go take a look. So as you can see, my 2 mini greenhouses, if you will, have been housing the peach and pear tree cuttings, I guess about 10 or 11 days since the last video, and several more peach tree cuttings have started to take some leaves from their buds, and even the pear tree cuttings are now starting to have the buds swell and produce some leaves. So I'm super excited to get at least one from each of these mini greenhouses into some cups and some soil and see how they do. The medium that I'm going to be using today is a mixture of perlite and my homemade compost. You can see this stuff's really fluffy. It's really good. Now the compost is not completely broken down yet, but it should do just fine. I'll be placing them in a couple of cups like this, the 2-cup method. You can see there's a hole in the top cup, and it sits inside of a bottom cup, which will help collect the reservoir of water. Here's a bird's eye view inside the peach tree cuttings. Several new leaves have formed, and onto the pear trees cuttings, several of these are starting to get some swelled buds as well. So I'll choose basically one cutting from each of these, and we'll get them into the cups. Okay, here's the 2 cuttings that I've chosen. A peach tree cutting here, got some good leaves starting to come out the top of the bud, and then here's the pear tree cutting, and you can see clearly that the leaves are starting to come out of the bud as well. So these are the 2 specimens that I'm going to use to get into the cups. They make good candidates. All right. So what I like to do, especially when you're putting cuttings into some soil, is you really want to pack down the soil really well. And I mean, the purpose of this is you can't have any air pockets between the stem and the soil. That would be a bad thing since there's really no roots down there right now. So after I pack it down really good, I'm going to grab a couple of more handfuls of the soil again here. Make sure that it settles pretty evenly. And let me see, get a good another handful here. So I'll go ahead and now pack these down really well. And again, I mean, you're not pushing it so you're crushing the soil. You just want to make sure that it's definitely pushed down really well. Once the soil is packed really well, you want to grab like a pen or a pencil or something that's about the same size as the cuttings, and you want to push it down into the soil really well. What you're trying to do here is you're trying to create a really solid hole for the stem to go into. All right, here's a couple of good examples here of the holes that I've created, and they're now ready to place the cuttings into. So I'm going to grab a cutting and just push it right into the hole. This is the pear cutting. I'll now grab the peach tree cutting, and I'll do the same thing, putting it right into the hole. Now that they're in there, you definitely want to make sure you take a few minutes here and pack around them. The key to this is you want to get rid of any air pockets. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes here packing around them and making sure that there is no air pockets between the stem of the cutting and the soil. Okay, now that I've got them packed pretty well, you want to add some water. Now I'm going to add water on top of each of these because I definitely want to help settle the compost to mix into the stem. I want to make sure it gets rid of any extra air pockets, and I'll also be adding water below as well here in a few seconds once this water level drops. Okay, I've added water from the top and the bottom. The cup's going to have a little bit of extra moisture in it, which is fine for me. These cuttings have been buried underwater for a while, or sitting in water for a while, so this is not bad. Now I'm going to take a Ziploc bag. I'm going to place it over the top of these cuttings. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. And here you go. I've now got the peach and pear tree cuttings in little mini greenhouses, if you will. I've allowed a little bit of space on top. I'm going to pinch these sides. This won't be a tight seal. All I'm trying to do is acclimate them to a little bit of fresh air as well as still have some humidity in there since they've been in a very humid greenhouse type conditions since they've been cut off. Here's the finished product here, the peach tree cutting in its little mini greenhouse inside some soil, and the pear tree cutting in its mini greenhouse inside some soil. Well, there you go, guys. It's just the waiting game now. We've got one cutting from each type of tree, the pear and the peach trees, and we're going to run this test side by side along with the ones that are still in the mini greenhouse method, and we'll see if the next week they're doing better or worse. So I took a couple of pretty healthy cuttings, not exactly the front runners, but didn't want to use my front runners in case the experiment doesn't go well. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to share it, share it. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Again, thanks for watching.